Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we have an exciting new gun to review. It's the FN510, their new 10mm offering. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We are talking about the FN510 Tactical 10mm handgun that FN came out with in about the last year. Some cool features about this is it comes with a 15-round magazine, and it comes with a YouTube compliant standard capacity 22-round magazine. That is awesome. Yes, it does stick down, but it's great that from the manufacturer you can get these little extendos and carry the firepower that you may need. Some great features about this gun is it's very similar to the size of the FNX 45 Tactical that's very popular, but instead of being hammer fired, this is striker fired. Their new FN45 and their new FN510 are striker fired handguns, deviating from some of their past guns. They also have a pretty good, decent plate mounting system on it. I would say it's okay. I have my EPS. This is the full-size EPS, not the EPS carry, and I will show how that fits on the frame in just a second. Out of the box, you have to buy a separate plate. Now, they claim they have a multi-reticle mounting system with this, which means it should fit a wide variety of dots. I really wanted to put this EPS on here. I like this dot. It's an enclosed optic. It fits the RMSC or 507K or EPS footprint on it. And so I really wanted that to be the optic for it, but their plate system didn't work. Now, what's curious about this is that the EPS, the 507K, the RMSC footprint actually all use the same screw placement and width as the Delta Point Pro optic does, but the Delta Point Pro optic is a little bit longer, and so you can see there's a little bit of wedge material that has to be here. Now the FN510, actually you can put a Delta Point Pro optic on top of this. I don't recommend it. Its battery life, according to today's standards, is terrible. Come on, Leupold, you got to up your game. But none of the plates for this 510 work. So I bought a plate from Apex. Not advertising for them, I'm just telling you what I did, and it fits in great. It has a great mounting system. Now, it doesn't increase the height very much, but it does a little bit, and that's a little bit of the reason why I like the EPS is the dots sit quite a bit lower and allow you to do a lower 1/3 co-witness with this system with these suppressor height sights, because again, that plate system does raise it up a little bit. One of the very positives about this plate system is these screws are pretty long. One of the negatives about many different plate systems is the screws don't go in far enough. Some of the manufacturers just put in some kind of last minute, hey, we got to have an optic in here, and they put a plate in there, but the screws can barely go through any depth of the plate, and so you don't get a lot of traction. These screws actually go through the plate into the frame of the gun and hold both of them together very snugly and securely. And this Apex plate is made exactly for this dot, so it also fits in very securely. I don't anticipate having issues with this, but where is a piece of wood that I need to knock on, because I have had a lot of dots fly off, hit me in the head, cut me open, fly over my shoulder, on and on. For those of you who watch the channel, you'll know what I'm talking about. I have here mounted a Surefire light on the front. That's just what I have. And so we're going to be shooting this today. Should be a lot of fun. Let me give you a little bit of a zoom in so you can see how this dot fits on this slide. See here, there's the dot. There's the 1/3 co-witness. It's almost half. It's almost full size in this window. But you can see just a little bit of hanging off on this dot that's occurring on either side. But actually, it fits and matches up quite well. Could you run an EPS carry? Yes, you could. But I wanted just a little bit bigger window on here. And so, yeah, that's kind of the optic and why I chose it. You can see how it matches up with it. Okay, and with the threaded barrel, this has a 4.71 inch barrel on here, so we should get pretty decent velocities when we test what we're getting for our 10mm ammo. So what are we going to do today? We're going to test some accuracy with this gun. We're going to test for reliability, so I have a wide range of ammo. We've got some plates, we've got some targets set up. It should be a fun time, so let's get to shooting. Okay, well, these aren't exactly the first shots, but first up, we're going to test some accuracy. We'll start seeing how the gun is running. So far, it's been pretty good. I don't know, I probably have maybe 150 rounds through it without videoing. And so, yeah, we'll just get to shoot and see how it does now. Pulled those. Pulled a few of those in there. Got a little bit undisciplined in my shooting. Again, those are pretty weak ammunition. That's the Federal. Next up, we have some Underwood that we're going to shoot with our 22 round mag. And I've got these mags loaded all the way so that we can get look-see at, do these magazines perform when they're fully loaded. This is Underwood Range Supply, and in some of my previous testing, these are pretty powerful and stout rounds. I'm not going to shoot the whole thing here. We're going to start halfway and get some measurements on the lab radar. I have some more rounds of that Federal, but this is all I brought of the Range Supply, so remind me not to shoot it all. So I don't think this is here, one more. So clearly it will shoot without the magazine in. But one of these things about this gun is it does have a light trigger pull. It's not like super light, but it's somewhere around the 3.5 pound mark, and it's a little mushy. So it often surprises me and catches me off guard. This is a gun that I think you have to really train with to be used to. You can't be hopping from guns to guns to guns like I do a lot. You're going to want to know. And obviously those ones that are starting to pull down are me anticipating the recoil more and more, and I'm dipping before I'm shooting. So again, yeah, things are going great. Let's go back. Let's get some chronographing of this Underwood range supply, and see how it does with our Garmin. Okay, well, we have some of this 180 grain Underwood range supply. I just want to get a few shots with this 4.71 inch barrel and see how it does with performance. I think this is very good, meaning pretty spicy range ammo, and it's cheaper than some of their hard cast and other things. And by the way, it's a pretty good flat nose anyway, so if you don't want to buy hard cast, you want to buy this full metal jacket, it's not a bad one for that. All right, slow down. 1190. 1203. 1209. 1211. 1218. 1223. Okay, that gives us a good idea of what's going on with that. And if we just take a quick look at our session summary, we had a min of 1188. We had 11 shots that it recorded. We had an average of 1206 and a max of 1223.3. Okay, let's test that Federal just for comparison. Okay, well, we got some Federal loaded up, about 7 rounds. See how it does. 1045. 1051, let's shoot a target. 1049. 1054. 1034. 1047. And 1053.2. If we just take a quick look at what that all adds up to be, when we look at that session summary, an average of 1048. So that's, 150 feet per second less than what that Underwood range supply was averaging. Max at 1054. Yeah, that's a big difference between these rounds. You can feel it. Sure, would I prefer to shoot a lot more of that Federal? Absolutely, because it's recoiling less, and it's softer on the hands, and yeah, all those things. So yeah, just kind of a little bit of a bonus feature as we're testing out the gun. Let's move on to some other ammunition types. Again, we're just kind of testing a wide variety of ammunition to see how it runs in the FN510. We also have our Garmin out just to get some numbers. I sometimes get too distracted with that. We'll probably take 2 or 3. What we have up next is some Underwood Extreme Defender. It's their 100 grain. It's got that screw tip type bullet on it. It's a very nice bullet, but it's going very fast, and so I want to see what it's doing out of this 4.71 inch barrel of the FN510 Tactical. And we didn't collect the shot. Okay, we've reset up the Garmin for a little bit higher velocity because I think it's crossing that threshold. We're going to continue testing the Underwood Extreme Defender out of the FN510 Tactical. We'll see what happens. Caught that one. 1801. 1810. 1805. 1784. And 1781, and all those cycled. So beautiful. And we had a min of 1781, a max of 1810, an average of 1796, extreme spread of 29.3, and 716 average kinetic energy foot-pounds. I like anything over 700 for the 10 millimeter. Okay, we have some of this 220 grain Underwood Hard Cast now that we're going to test out in the gun. We have got our Garmin set up. I like this 220 grain hard cast. Personally, I usually prefer a 200 grain. It gets a little bit faster, but a lot of people choose this for bear defense because it is hard and heavy enough and penetrates deep enough into a bear. With bear defense, you've got to get something that will penetrate deep enough. I know there are stories with 9 millimeters. I know there are stories with other rounds. By the way, those stories with 9 millimeters typically are with penetrating rounds and not jacketed hollow points. In fact, I don't know of a story with a jacketed hollow point. But with this setup, we're going to see if it runs. Sometimes guns, the 10 millimeter handguns, have problems with the heavier rounds, the 220 full power rounds. Let's see how this gun does. 1182. 1209, that's a spicy round. 1217. And we did get a malfunction. So, a little bit not working on that. That's too bad. We got a failure to extract. That round that came out was one that was loaded, so I don't know. We got to keep shooting. So that one's cycled, 1192. Well, we didn't get locked back. Maybe I'm hitting the slide. I don't think so, but we're going to load up some more. I don't think I'm going to test any more with this Garmin because we got the answers that we needed from that. Let's just take a quick look. And of 1182, an average of 1201. So usually I'm looking for 200 grains at 1200 foot-pounds. This is 220 grains at 1200 foot-pounds. Good job, Underwood. This is a hot and spicy round. And an average kinetic energy of 704 energy foot-pounds, which is interesting that 100 grain Underwood that we talked about earlier is getting more energy foot-pounds. Okay, well, we've got some targets down. We have a 220 grain. We have the final 12 rounds of that. I'm going to shoot some of the steel with this. It should be fun. We'll see if we can keep our hand away from the slide stop and see if that was one of our problems. I'm holding my hands weird so that I don't have any problems. And it must have been that I hit that slide stop because I had no issues. Look at this cloud of smoke that's all around me. That is some smoky powder. You can see the end of my flashlight getting all smoked up. Very interesting. All right, well, let's finish up. Okay, well, I've got some of this Federal rounds, and we're going to try to see if we can go a little bit faster with some of these targets. Not super fast, but they were fun to do. Okay, well, what are my initial thoughts on the FN510 Tactical? So far, I'm pretty happy with it. I wasn't happy with that one malfunction on the 220 grain. I don't like that happening. We're going to have to do some more testing. I had been shooting some of my 200 grain hand loads that are pretty spicy, spicier than the Underwood rounds, and it handled all of those just fine. So I'm not sure if that was just a fluke or if I hit the slide stop or if whatever was happening with my grip. But I think the gun runs great. My downside to it is the trigger is a little weird. Over time, I got more and more used to it, but still not great. I need more time. I need more time on the gun getting used to it. I think that is a good option. I don't know if it's the best 10 millimeter. I certainly like the dot mounting system. The XDM Elite has been my favorite, but I had an optic flew off, and it really is because their plate system is entirely terrible. So it's a great option for you. I think the FN510 is another great option. The 3.8 inch XCM Elite is a great one because it can span that roll from backcountry to concealed carry. This one is more of a full-size type handgun. I think it's more in the lines of like a Glock 19 type size guns, Glock 20 type size handgun. And so they just have different things. Now this has a bigger barrel or a longer barrel, so you're going to get better ballistic performance out of it. But overall, those are just going to have to be some of the interesting things for you. Is there other ammunition you want to see me test with this? Are there other types of tests you'd like to see run with it? Please put it in the comments below. I hope everyone has a great week, and let's get to shooting.